This video is all about doing a yarn collage version of materials. So for yarn or any kind of flexible fabric type thing, you're going to need an adhesive and of course, your yarn, a pair of sharp scissors, and this is how we're going to get started. The first part I'm going to show you is with glue. I will also show you some stitching options and additional options there. So just some tips about the tacky glue. You'll always want to keep this upside down, and you'll want to keep a declogger handy. Just a bent paper clip is really handy. Sometimes the tip, even if kept upside down, will still get clogged between sessions, so a quick little poke into there just to clear out any glue residual, and then keep storing the glue upside down between uses really does help with keeping that unclogged, I should say. In addition, before you get started, you'll want to decide on your color scheme, choose out some yarns. As you can keep these separate or put them back between sessions, depending on whether or not you need them again. It is handy to select your colors and create bundles and glue multiple pieces of yarn together to save on time for this type of process. You can figure out the approximate length that you'll need for any one particular area by laying it out along the path, and try to choose the longest section that you think you're going to need to do. This is probably going to be the longest piece for this particular swirl. And then I'm going to add a little length to that. And then I'm going to fold my yarn over several times to cut several pieces that are approximately all the same length. So just pinching at the fold, running the yarn again, pinching at the fold, running the yarn again. This will create several lengths of yarn that are all the same. When I go to cut it, I'm going to cut it in that fold, making sure I get all my bundles so that I'm getting all these loose yarns, and the same thing at the other end. So I end up with lots of loose pieces. Then I can go ahead and start gluing these down. To start, I'm going to do several dots of glue along the line where I want to put it. 10 dots or so, or if it's not too long of a piece, you can follow a whole line is fine. And then you take 2 or 3 pieces of yarn at a time, if your goal is to fill in the whole shape anyway, and push it into the glue. If it all doesn't stick in everyone, it's not the end of the world. All right, and when you reach the end, you can simply trim the yarn if you want to have it end there, or you can have it fold back along itself and do it that way. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and trim these, and then I'll fold this one back actually. So if you're going to do some folding, a couple of tips on that. You'll want to make sure you sort of hold the folded part and then stick the glue down, or stick the yarn down, and then follow the next part. So work is done and dried, it's time to trim the edges. Make sure that the yarn that you're cutting is dry and you use a sharp pair of scissors. If you try to cut yarn that's still wet or not attached yet, it will not cut, it will instead pull off. Cut at your edges to clean up the sides of your art. If, like mine, your image is too large for the paper, go ahead and cut the paper too if needed. Before you're completely done, check your work to make sure there aren't any holes in your surface. Decide if there's any extra things that you need to add or if anything needs to be attached a little better.